This is WhyBeAre with BeamNG.drive, and today we're going to be taking a look at 3 mods in one video. The first mod we're going to be taking a look at is a user interface app. So we're going to go ahead and add this to the screen. It's called the EV battery monitor. I'm just going to place it right here next to the vehicle damage app. Now this does absolutely nothing with the current vehicle we have. We need to get a vehicle that's compatible with it. So we're going to go with an ETK 800 and we get the 856TH hybrid. So this is a touring model with a 6-cylinder engine and a hybrid drivetrain. You'll also notice here the transmission is a ECVT. This is mod number 2. With this vehicle, you worry about how much gasoline you have and how much electrical charge you have. So right now you can see we have 85% charge on the battery, and just sitting here we're using 1 kilowatt. When we drive around though, we'll use a lot more than that. Accelerating hard right here uses well over 100 kilowatts. And the battery does not last that long. We already have about 10% less charge than what we started with, but you do recharge the battery. So you see braking right there. It has some regenerative braking that helps get the battery back up. But when you're driving aggressively like I am right now, the battery will discharge faster than you can recharge it. See, now we're already down to 65%. That's 20% less than what we started with. And one of my favorite things about the way this mod works is the amount of power you can get out of the battery does depend on the amount of charge it has, just like how a real battery works. When you have a battery that's only at like 10% charge, it can't discharge as fast as a battery that's at full charge. So in addition to the regenerative braking, you also can recharge the battery just by driving really fast. Once you get to around 100 miles per hour, you actually start to recharge the battery, and the faster you go, the more the battery gets charged. And at these speeds, we're recharging it almost as fast as we can discharge it when we were accelerating really hard earlier. And I'm not slowing down, so we're going to wreck this thing right into a tree. And nice little spin on that tree. I'll let you guys look at the damage. It's not going to be any different than a normal ETK 800 series, but it's always nice to take a look at it before you reset it. Since I'm talking about the battery so much, why don't we focus on that a little bit more? If you hit E, you can drive the car using just the battery. The engine is completely turned off, and the car is running on 100% electricity. And even without the assistance of the engine, it's still pretty fast. We're up to 60 miles per hour already. Probably could get up to 80 before you have to slam on the brakes. Let's see. There's 80. And yeah, we were able to do that before we got to the end of the straightaway. Now this performance will not last though. Once we get to about 30% charge, it is very noticeable the difference between it and a vehicle that is fully charged. And I know a great way to demonstrate that. That bridge over there with a big, long straightaway, that looks like the perfect place for an all-electric drag race. So this car is going to have right about 30%. So it should be a pretty noticeable difference between the two vehicles. So I'm just going to go ahead and park this thing right here as straight as I can. That looks pretty straight to me. And then we're just going to clone it. And the clone should have a full charge on it. Yes, it does. So we turn the engine off. Freeze physics, start the accelerator, unfreeze, and here goes the race. Now initially they take off pretty similar because there's only so much traction you can have, but once you actually start needing the power, you see the difference here. I am flooring it, believe it or not, but it's just not moving, it looks like. So what do you do when this happens? Well, you can brake, which will recharge it a little bit, but that's not going to do you no good in the long run. What you really should do is you put it in a park, turn the engine back on with E, and then you floor it. And you'll notice doing that does recharge it at a pretty decent rate. You can also recharge it by hitting Shift E and then putting the car in the park, and then it does it automatically. It does it at a slower rate, but I think it has the engine running at like the ideal RPM, so it's the most gas efficient way of recharging the battery. And then of course you could also recharge the battery just by driving it. Now before, I discharged the battery faster than I could recharge it, but when the battery's at a lower charge, it doesn't discharge as fast, so eventually you get to this area where the battery just kind of stays around a certain percent because that's discharging it as fast as it'll recharge for the way you're driving. So let's drive around a bit and see if we can reach that point. Now it really does depend a lot on the driving you're doing though. If I'm doing a lot of slower tight corners, the battery's going to be kicking on a lot, so it won't have that much charge. But something like this where we're going at a high speed, we're recharging it about 70 kilowatts and we're not really using it all that much. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we end up with like 60% charge driving through here like this. It's just a matter of how long can I keep this up. If I start sliding a little bit more and driving more aggressive, or I run out of straightaway, then the charge will definitely be going down. But this nice long straight right here going 120 miles per hour, that recharges the batteries real well. But I gotta slow down a little bit, and well, actually slowing down right there just helped it more because of the regenerative braking. All right, so sitting around 65% seems pretty stable. So I'm flying this thing into a bush, wrecking it up. Engine is broken, got a little bit of fire, and actually look at the discharge on the battery. Like, the battery even gets damaged in the impact, and then it discharges itself fast. That's pretty neat. Anyways, another neat thing you can do is you can drive around using just the battery without turning off the engine. So what you have to do is you have to be under about 35 miles per hour, and then you'll notice the engine just kicked off right there. That was all automatic. That was not for me. And then as long as you're only hitting the throttle a little bit, it stays in electric mode. But right now, if you roll over about 35 miles per hour, the engine kicks on. Like, I was not hitting the throttle at all right there, but there's just a certain speed threshold that you hit, and then the car has to have the engine on. So I'm gonna go ahead and very gentle on the throttle, then it's back to purely electric mode. So right now we're driving just electric, but you know, this is kind of steep and you need power. So you floor it, the engine automatically kicks on just like that, and it pretty seamlessly transitions between just electric and hybrid mode. And that's just like real cars. A lot of real hybrids use just electric at lower speeds. Anyways, time to wreck. I see a hill. Let's climb it. All right, come on, get some good rolling going. Nice, nice, nice. Ooh, extra nice, rolling off the cliff and then down into the water. Go. Not too much damage to the vehicle from that, so we can go ahead and reset it. And then we'll replace it with the faster version. So far we've just been using the touring model. Now we're going to be using the racing model, which is a good bit faster actually. So let me give you some acceleration demonstrations right here. We have 90% charge right off the bat. Then we floor it, and you see this thing's giving off about almost 300 kilowatts of power at its peak, and it's able to go easily 110 miles per hour along that bridge before you have to slow down. It is very, very fast, and I have a dumb idea I have to try real quickly, okay? What happens if you turn the engine off and then you drive through the water using just electric? Does that actually work? Engine is hydro-locking, but that was just because it had a little bit of RPM when I entered the water. And look at this! It actually works! Submarine mode is engaged, and we should be able to get through this water no problem to the island over here. Who needs bridges when you have a hybrid vehicle? Now, obviously, this would completely ruin the electronics in a car, and I really have no idea what would happen if you did something like that. I assume it couldn't work in real life, but it's kind of fun that it does in the game, you know? Anyways, though, we made it across, no problem. That's cool. Because you turn the engine back on and the engine works now. It might have got a little bit of damage just because I entered the water with the engine having some revs on it, but if I entered it already in electric mode, that would have been amazing. I mean, it still was amazing, but it would have been even more amazing. So anyways, you can once again charge up the battery just by going fast. You see we're gaining actually about 100 kilowatts just driving along right here. And it's not going to be recharging for long because I'm going to wreck it on the next corner coming up right here. So 130 miles per hour, sliding into some trees. This should be a good one. Nice. Got a good spin off of it. And the whole side of the car has been ruined, it looks like. Yeah. Don't know where the other door went. And the engine basically disappeared. It fell out. It's still there, but you barely see it. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and reset this, and I want you guys to be able to listen to what the vehicle sounds like. So I'm going to drive it around in hybrid mode for a bit and then electric mode. Alright, that should give you a good idea. Now, wreck it. It's kind of underwhelming, but it did take out the vehicle. It's immobilized. So let's go ahead and swap out maps real quickly. Now, we've been driving on a toll, just so you guys know, and we're going to head over to West Coast, USA. Once again, we're going to be going with an ETK 856THS. This time we'll get in a different color. We'll get solar yellow. Now, what we're going to do is going to put it to a different mode. We're going to put it to L. And this one makes it have really aggressive regenerative braking. So it actually slows down even if you're not touching the brakes. Like right here, you can see the car is definitely slowing down more than it would if it was just coasting. And I'm not touching the brakes at all. So it's braking on its own some, and it's recharging the batteries, and I did basically nothing to do that. It's just another mode that's a option for the vehicle. I don't really know exactly when I would ever prefer this over the other mode, but it is a real thing in some vehicles. Like, for example, the Nissan Leaf has the e-pedal thing, and that's very similar to what this is. So it totally makes sense why it's in the game. It's just, why is it in real life? Well, that I really don't know. What was wrong with using two pedals? I'm not sure. I always thought two pedals was a perfect setup, but maybe it isn't. Anyways, let's go ahead and finish this vehicle off. I'm just going to wreck into this wall. I'm not going too fast or anything. And then take a quick look at the damage, and we're going to reset it and replace it with the third mod we're going to be taking a look at, which is a mod for the Wentward DT40L. So we have two new versions here. We have the City Electric and the City Hybrid Race. We're going to start with the electric version, which is purely electric. The car I've been driving so far has always been a hybrid. This one, it just has a battery. No gasoline, no diesel engine, just battery. And with that in mind, the battery on this thing is much bigger. You see, going up this hill, we use about 350 kilowatts, almost up to 400 at times. And we've only used 1% of the battery because this thing has a big, chunky battery that's actually made to move this thing a decent distance before you run out. The one thing I noticed about this thing is it's pretty good going up until about 30 miles per hour. And then past that, it's kind of slow. So it's really designed just for kind of going around this area where you're not going to be going much faster than that. And you're just moving around the town at low speeds, transporting people all over the place, up hills and stuff, where the extra torque of the electric motors will be the most beneficial. This is the zone for this bus, it feels like, basically. We can get it up to higher speeds, you just need a little bit of help. So like right here, we got this hill, it'll help us get up to probably 40 miles per hour at least, yeah. But you notice the output on the engine really falls off a cliff. It's only putting out, well, like 50 kilowatts right now, which, well, that's way less than it can do. As you saw earlier, it was doing well over 300 kilowatts of power. We got this thing up to 60 miles per hour, so that means impact! No slow-mo or anything, just crash it into there, and yeah, that's not going nowhere. So we'll have to bring it back to where we started, and once again, look at that output! 450 kilowatts! I saw it hit maybe even 460. It's hard to watch it in full speed, so I'm gonna put a little slow-mo here. We're gonna see just how much output can we get out of this thing. It looks like 460 is as high as it gets. That's a lot of output, though. And it moves the bus decently well. Like, it gets up to 30 miles per hour like that. It's just after that, you see, then it really dies out. We got this downhill to help us a little bit, but once we hit that flat surface, watch this. Okay, we are going 40 miles per hour, and I'm flooring it, and we are actually losing speed here because it just does not want to go faster than about 35 miles per hour. It is really designed for going around the city, and the bus driver has to try to speed. He has to find a hill to drive down to go that extra speed right there. Anyways, we'll go ahead and wreck this thing one more time, and then we'll take a look at the other bus, which is a hybrid option, which is a lot more fun to mess around with. So there's the damage. Actually still drivable after this one, I think. I don't know. Maybe it's just stuck. Anyways, bring it back over here. And then we're going to get out the City Hybrid Race, which is an ultra-fast variant of the Wentward DT40L with a hybrid powertrain installed. So this one's just like the ETK we were driving earlier. It has the regular engine and the battery. Now, the thing about this one is check how much power this thing gives out at times. I saw it hit 900 kilowatts for a second. This thing really is like a racing battery, the amount of output it can get you. And it still regenerates too. Like, I didn't have much regeneration with the other bus just because of the way I was driving it, but they both still have the regeneration. It has all the features you saw in the ETK in the bus as well. Except this one, though, it doesn't have the only goes about 35 miles per hour. No, this is a racing bus. It'll go 100 miles per hour if you wanted to. You know, with a little bit of help from the downhill at least. It says 100, but it's lying. It's definitely lying to you. Oh no, I lost the piece! Stop, stop, stop! It may be a racing vehicle, but doesn't have that good a stopping distance still. Alright, where'd that piece fall off go? I'm gonna reattach it. That sounds like something fun to do right now. All right, there's the bumper, but I think I lost... Did I lose like the cover too? Yeah, I lost the whole rear cover. Where did that thing go? I don't know, it's gone. Well, we'll reattach the bumper then. It's the least I could do. That way if somebody hits me, they don't hit my engine, right? All right, so take the bumper, bring it on over, and let's see, where's a good attachment spot? Right? Is this the left or the right side? That's, let's call that the right side over here, and the other one will be the left. All right, so reattaching the bumper just because it's fun. Click and click. All right, bumper, go on. Haha! I love doing that. That's one of those little things that's just fun to mess around with. We can even like attach it down low too, and it'll really stay on well. There is absolutely no way that bumper is coming off. It is gonna protect me in any collision. Oh wait, is the bus broken? You know what? Can the bus not reverse actually? Okay, so it looks like there might be some sort of issue with the mod that it can't reverse, but maybe it's because I'm using it in automatic mode. So yeah, if you're using the automatic mode, the bus cannot go in reverse. You have to use manual mode. I guess it has to do with like the hybrid system trying to regenerate energy because you're hitting the brakes technically, because you use the down arrow or the brake pedal to go in reverse if you use an automatic mode. So you have to do shift it to manual mode, or make it go into manual mode, then shift it into reverse, and then you can reverse. I just now noticed that issue. I never had to reverse before. I never had to reverse enough where I cared. Like I thought probably it was just broken when it wasn't. All right, that was pretty good stopping right there. It stopped perfectly for that corner. And I like the way that bumper looks, just hanging off the edge a little bit. Looks funny. But you can see this thing is very decently fast. All these hills and stuff don't slow it down one bit. And on the straightaways, we can get up to speeds faster than probably most regular economy cars with a bus that weighs multiple times more than an economy car does. All right, crash time. No more driving allowed. Good amount of damage, and you saw it with all that driving, we didn't use that much battery again because the bus has such a big battery. Oh, and by the way, if you're curious, does the hybrid system actually increase the miles per gallon? Yes, it does. Did I do a test for that? No. But the author said he did the test, and I trust him enough that I believe what he said. So the bus, though, it also has the L version. Even in racing trim, you can put it into L, and then when you let up on the gas, you see that regenerative braking going, generating over 500 kilowatts of power as we slow down. And it slows down pretty well for not using the brakes, actually. We're already down to 35, 30. You're not going to just let up on the gas in an emergency stop situation, but just slowing down. Pretty good. Already down to 10 miles per hour, and that might be as low as it can get, actually, because I'm noticing it's not regenerating any energy. It's actually using energy. So let me try this. I'm going to slow it down and then just let up and... Oh yeah, it's accelerating because I had it at 1 mile per hour and we're up to 2 now. So it will not come to a complete stop. I know some implementations of something similar like that. Like, again, using the Nissan Leaf as an example. That one will come to a complete stop. This one, though, you still need a little bit of brake at the end. Anyways, you know what we should try to do? We should try to discharge the battery some, give you guys an idea of how long the battery takes to discharge, and then also do some recharging. And I guess if I want to discharge the battery, we shouldn't be using the engine. Turn that off. And it's going to take a while to probably get this thing discharged much at all if I have my estimates correctly, because I think this thing has a significantly bigger battery than the other bus we were driving. So even if we use 500 kilowatts, it's still going to last quite some time. So I'm going to try to like drive intentionally as bad for the battery as possible. That means like go up all the hills. Try to use up as much power as you possibly can. When you slow down, try not to slow down where it regenerates too much. I don't really know how you would do that. Try. Well, actually, you know, I have an idea. I wonder if you use the e-brake for slowing down, does that still regenerate? That might actually make it where you can slow down without it regenerating if you really don't want it to. That's funny. It's like you have a hybrid vehicle and you're doing your very best to make it as gas inefficient as possible. Well, I guess it'd probably be even more gas inefficient if we had the engine running at the same time, probably, because we could really like cheese it out. It's like right here, I'm hitting the e-brake though, and very little regeneration. That's good. That's how you'd want to do it, but I don't know if I trust the vehicle doing that. I might lose control over it. Oh, we're going fast. Slam on those brakes. Slam on those brakes. Don't you crash on me. All right, that's good. I thought I was going to crash for a second. That's right, I got to switch into reverse. I was sitting there for a second trying to make it back up, and I'm like, oh yeah, gotta go into the modes. All right, back accelerating up this hill once more. Once we get to the top of this hill, we'll try regenerating some, see how fast it does it. I'm not sure if it'll regenerate as fast as it uses it up though, because I mean 500 kilowatts, that's a lot of battery usage, man. I guess it could though. I mean, it has a big diesel engine. Should be able to generate a lot of kilowatts, right? All right, stop. Put it in the park. Engine on, and then I'm gonna do the automatic mode. So you just click the button and then it regenerates it on its own. I'm not touching anything else. So it regenerates at about 150 kilowatts. That's not bad. What if we did it manually? It's actually worse. I did not expect that. If you rev it on your own, you get less charge than if you do it where it does automatically, whereas the ETK was the exact opposite, if I remember correctly. Unless I'm remembering. Maybe I'm remembering wrong. Either way, it's interesting if they're different. Yeah, when you put it in that mode, it's actually able to use like the full turbo PSI and stuff. Okay. Anyways, let's wreck this thing, and that'll probably be it for this video, actually. I don't have anything else I really want to show off. I think you guys get a good idea of how this works, and it's one of those things where it's a mod where it's not much to look at, but it's a lot to play around with. Like, you see it and you just think it's going to be like some cheesy mod that was like, you know, 10 minutes or something, but this thing really has some serious depth to it. Anyways, till next time, this has been WhyBeAre. If you like or dislike this video, I will know. You cannot hide these facts from me. So, do the right thing, and I'll see you next time.